Coming up next, fans, is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time Thursday night. Big news on WWE Clash of Champions, which occurred last Sunday on the WWE Network. Also, TNA has signed a huge free agent, but will he actually be able to be a part of Bound for Glory Sunday night on pay-per-view? SmackDown continues to get real, and Raw suffers defeat. All that and much more, including DWHS, right here, right now on the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time Thursday night.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time for Thursday, September 29, 2016. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius and Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time knockout, straight-edge, hardcore Hall of Famer hero. And how are you here on this Trump night in Milwaukee?
I'm fantastic.
Are you really?
Great.
I think that's a matter of opinion.
No, but it's the
one
truth.
I disagree
it's
with.
the truth. It's been a great week. I've been clanging and banging, getting ready for our cage match. I am going to be so ready. Blizzard Brawl December 3rd, House of Hardcore.
Who's in a cage?
Al Snow, David Hero, Abyss, Damian Nelson. It's going to be fantastic.
I've not committed to that matchup.
I cannot wait to...
You're living in your own reality, aren't you?
I always have.
So, you haven't found a substitute for this matchup yet? Because I'm not in it. I told you. You know what? I need an undercard.
You know what? To be honest, I've thought about it, and it's like there is no other name that people want to see get beat up more than you.
Well, that's completely egregious and erroneous.
Regis has nothing to do with this.
Can Regis Philbin be my manager?
If he's available.
That's what I need, a manager. Give me a manager, I'll do the match. Let me pick a manager, I'll do the match. I could have Jimmy Cornette manage me.
Can you imagine? I don't know. Would Jimmy like you?
We're great friends.
Are you?
Absolutely. We go way back, about 2 months.
That could be interesting. You take him to Dairy Queen after?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, drive-through, of course.
It has to be a drive-through.
So James E. Cornette can be my manager?
Well, we got to talk about with Tommy. I mean, you already signed the contract. Tommy's working other things. You know, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be huge. It's going to be tremendous. The people in Waukesha, I love the people. They love me. It's going to be great.
Does that make you smart?
Yes.
All right, well, folks, let's get right down to it. This week's big story. Last Sunday on the WWE Network, they brought to us Clash of Champions, which was a Raw-branded pay-per-view.
It was like watching Raw, let's be honest.
It was like watching Raw without the promos, to be honest with you. Less talking, more wrestling, and I guess that's a good thing, but at the end of the day, this pay-per-view, geds. But let's talk about what happened over the course of the 3+ hours that this show went on Sunday for Clash of Champions. Firstly, Roman Reigns becomes the new United States champion, defeating Rusev in what was actually a pretty damn good matchup.
You know what? For people that have been bad-mouthing Roman Reigns, saying that he sucks, he's been freaking great. I mean, he had a great match with Rusev.
Well, he's endorsed, so I don't know why this is coming off as a surprise to anyone.
He had a great cage match with Kevin Owens. I mean, he has been doing everything that has been asked and needed of him since WrestleMania.
And he did so on Sunday, and he got the championship. Did you expect that would happen? It doesn't seem like it.
You know what? I honestly thought Rusev would find a way to do it because they've done such a great job building Rusev up as just this guy that is so tough to beat. The guy, yeah, that Russian. And he's got a beautiful wife. It's like, give them more TV time. Let her celebrate with him.
Reigns, the new United States champion. This is a good move, I think, for the future of Roman Reigns, especially after what we saw on Monday night, which we'll talk about a wee bit later on. But, folks, also, TJ Perkins retains his Cruiserweight Championship over Brian Kendrick. This matchup didn't do anything for me, David Hero. You know what? I'm not yet a fan of the Cruiserweights.
No, you know what? You might not be a fan of TJ Perkins. Brian Kendrick had an amazing match. He was solid. Everything he did was great. I was a huge fan of Brian Kendrick. I didn't realize how much he's been missed. But TJ Perkins, in the Cruiserweight, what he did was amazing. TJ Perkins obviously had to retain. You don't have him win the entire tournament to lose on the first big match. He's going to defend the title. But if Brian Kendrick if that was his audition to get a job, he got hired.
Let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on one TJ Perkins, David Hero, as the Cruiserweight champion, the winner of the Cruiserweight Championship tournament?
You know, from
what you've seen so far.
He needs a little more seasoning. I mean, he's very talented. He's a good-looking dude. You know, I believe he's Filipino, so he has that international.
Like DJZ.
Yeah, exactly. But he seemed to be overwhelmed in that big arena.
Is
Just
he,
my opinion.
Is he the person who should be the champion right now?
I don't know if he would have been my first choice, but obviously the powers that be see something in him that's going to be special. But I think it's going to be a challenge for him to retain that title going forward because there's so many great cruiserweights in that division right now.
Speaking of championships and titles, folks, the New Day retained their tag team championships of the world in their matchup on Sunday night.
I hope Gallows and Anderson are getting paid well because since they've been here, two great guys, a great tag team, international fame and fortune, but they have been coming up short since they've arrived in the WWE. And maybe it's because that, the office feels that New Day is the brand. You know what I mean? That New Day is their product, and they're not going to have outsiders come in.
Are they outsiders?
They are.
Not the outsiders,
No.
but are they outsiders?
Yeah, because they weren't created in WWE. So maybe they have to get past that litmus test of coming in, being big stars, being knocked down a few notches to then get another run down the road. But right now, obviously, I think New Day is done with Gallows and Anderson.
Who thought it would actually happen this way, but it did, folks. The way you said it would happen and be the booker last Saturday at PWRshow.com. Cesaro, Sheamus, no contest. No one wins the best of 7 series.
It was so great. I loved it because both guys had great 6 matches leading into this. Sheamus up 3-0. Cesaro, the ultimate underdog, coming back, ties it up 3-3. But both guys, let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Whoever wins that match, what happens next?
Well, we would see on Monday night what would happen next.
But let's be honest, you don't see Sheamus or Cesaro truly challenging Owens for the Universal title.
Yeah.
And neither one is going to beat Owens for the Universal title. So what do? You take 2 strong singles individuals and make them into a tag team. Because let's face it, the Raw tag team division is a little suspect, a little weak. It isn't as strong as we all would have hoped. And now you have, I compared to when they put Road Dogg and Billy Gunn together for the first time. Everyone scratched their head. What happened to Road Dogg and Billy? Became one of the most decorated tag teams
of all time.
Yes. So I can see Sheamus and Cesaro being awesome. Much like go way back in the day, Don Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton, the Tank and the Technician. Cesaro and Sheamus will have gold before the end of the year.
Really?
Yes.
Really? That's
Absolutely.
a bold statement.
It's an honest one. It's the truth. I speak the truth.
From the way you see it, folks, Chris Jericho gets a win over Sami Zayn.
Hold on
endorsed Sami Zayn at Clash of Champions.
You know what? Everyone's big into fact-checking everything. Check my facts. I am right on all
you're
this
inviting
stuff.
people to check your facts?
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yes.
You really want to open that door?
What have I really been wrong on?
Let's see, just about damn near everything?
Not even. I know what's going to draw, what's going to make money, and Sheamus and Cesaro will be tag team champions, and they're going to be great tag team champions. They might be the best tag team champions of all time.
The main event, it was Seth Rollins attempting to get the championship from Kevin.
Stop. Go back to Zayn and Jericho. That's where you started. Then you lost track of what you were talking about.
I lost track of what I was talking about. Well, Chris Jericho gets the win. Was that a surprise to you, David Hero?
Huge surprise. What's amazing is you think about it. Every time Jericho's been in a big match, he's won.
Really? Every time. Lately, not every time.
He beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
He did.
Okay. How was SummerSlam for him? Great. They won the tag match. No one saw that coming. And now again, he's beating all these young up-and-comers.
What does that mean? What is that saying? Because he was playing a very different role in recent history in WWE.
It means that he is the litmus test. They want to see how these young guys do with Jericho.
Okay.
You don't think so?
Sami Zayn's proven himself.
How?
He's proven himself. He is a star. He is over. The fans are behind him.
What has he done?
In the ring? Does that matter?
He has yet to win a big match. He's almost becoming Neville.
You stop. He is not.
When was the last time he won something big?
Wins and losses don't matter. I've heard you say that. Do you want to go back to that fact check conversation?
Yeah, that's fine, but he still has to do something eventful.
It was actually, the last time you said it was July 28th. 2016, you said wins and losses don't matter.
That's true. I did say that. I'm not saying I didn't say that. I didn't say it at that time.
But now you're saying wins and losses do matter.
They do at certain times. Not every time.
And this time they don't.
For Jericho, it does because he's beating young guys. But let's face it, and I like Sami Zayn. I think he's a tremendous talent, but he hasn't done anything like, oh my God. He hasn't had that like, oh, now he's a star. He has come up short in every pay-per-view.
He's endorsed.
He's becoming
He is a star.
He is becoming the Dolph Ziggler of Raw.
We'll talk about Dolph Ziggler a little bit later on, but the main event, David Hero, at Clash of Champions was Kevin Owens defending his championship, his Universal Championship, against Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins would actually come up short. Kevin Owens winning, but he did so with the help of his best friend, Chris Jericho.
Which I thought was interesting that Jericho, I mean, I get it because they're heels and they want to get the babyface sympathy and heat for Seth Rollins. But it was a great match that ended like that. I thought that was kind of flat. I would have rather have had Jericho not get physically involved as he did and done something else.
But a lot of people, including me, were thinking that this would be Triple H's spot. Triple H would get involved in the matchup. You were against that before you were for it. Now you're against it. But it was Chris Jericho who would get involved and really be the catalyst for Kevin Owens winning the matchup.
Once again, Kevin Owens, much like Sami Zayn, he may have the belt, but has he really beat anybody yet?
Oh, who's he ever beat?
Triple H won the title for him.
Yes.
Reigns beat him in the cage match.
Yes.
And now he needs Jericho to help him beat Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Kevin Owens is not beating people.
Is that a problem?
If he's the champion, yes. Eventually that's all going to unfold, and that story is what we'll be told. But right now, I don't think people are realizing it, that Kevin Owens, as great as he's been, and yes, he deserved to be the champ. Yeah, he's had the best year of anybody. He's not winning.
What'd you think overall of Clash of Champions this past Sunday on the WWE Network? Some 3 hours plus of action from the Raw brand.
That's the problem I had. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, we all got to sit through 3+ hours of Raw. Now you have a pay-per-view, which should have been done in 2 hours and 45 minutes. That went 3 hours and 15.
Yeah.
Way too long. Is the same stuff that I saw on Raw the last couple weeks. That was frustrating for me. I'm hoping that they fix those glitches and bugs and whatever else and make the show a little bit tighter.
One other thing that didn't quite come to fruition as you saw that it might happen on Be the Booker, or as you said it would happen if you were the Booker, Bayley falls short. Charlotte still the champion.
Yeah, Bayley is getting beat a lot.
Can't she sustain it? It doesn't damage her, does it?
I think it does for the Raw audience, yes, because the Raw audience is not the same as the NXT audience. And now she's getting damaged weekly. Not good for Bayley.
All right, well, that was Clash of Champions. Now, you know, we do have the Pro Wrestling Report Fantasy Draft. We're going into it. Linda told us just last week that I was ahead. This guy was winning, as he always does, with a hashtag in front, by 190 points. And I am pleased to say I still sit here before you as the leader in the 2016
By how many
PWR
points?
Fantasy
By how many
Draft.
points? By how many points?
Huge, bigly. I'm ahead
10
bigly.
points.
I am dominating. Yes, I am dominating. I'm still winning. I'm still maintaining my lead. I'm still winning.
It sounds like you're
10
talking
points
about the
ahead.
polls. The polls mean nothing right now. 10 points is not much.
These are real numbers. These are not polls. I am winning. Congratulations on closing the gap just a little bit, but at the end of the day,
I'm good at closing
when
gaps.
it's overcome WrestleMania 33, it will not matter because I will win the draft yet again. Your roster is very Raw heavy. My roster is very SmackDown heavy. No Mercy's coming up in just 2 weeks. What am I saying? You have a lot of Raw talents on your roster. I have a lot of SmackDown talents on my roster.
Okay.
I do prefer SmackDown.
You'll be getting
as do
on
many
December
people.
3rd.
You live in your own delusional reality. That's a fact.
It's gotten me
Jack.
this far.
Well, folks, that is the big story this week, and we are going to advance forward after this timeout into talking about the WWE Raw Report, SmackDown
Didn't we just
Report,
talk about that?
Impact News, Hot
Oh, that
News,
was Clash of Champions.
DWHS, the Event Center, and more here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We'll be back in just a moment.
The biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend is back. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Orlando. Join Nash and his friends for a huge VIP party Friday, March 31st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling at the world-famous Mangoes on International Drive to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Orlando, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now and going fast at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling
What is
Report
all
Prime Time
this?
Saturday night. I'm sorry? It looks like you've got some alien activity on your run sheet there.
That's kabuki.
What happened?
I don't know. It looks like. Are those your eyelashes?
No, they're firmly planted on my eyelids. Why are you so distracted? I mean,
because-
we're doing a show here. The people are waiting to hear what I have to say, and they really want to hear what I have to say in this week's WWE Raw Report.
You watched
ladies
it
and
this
gentlemen.
week?
No.
I didn't think so.
I did watch the first
you've been
hour.
so
I
preoccupied.
watched the last 2 hours later on demand or
Oh, so
on,
you're watching
on
the
DVR,
debate.
if you will.
What
I
did you
did
think
watch
about
the
the
debate.
debate?
The debate between the Democratic presidential nominee and the Republican presidential
Yes.
nominee. I felt that one person showed that they understand what it takes to be in the highest office in this land. I understand, and I watched and felt that another person is nothing more than a fraud, a bigot, and a racist.
Lester Holt is not a racist.
I was not naming names because Lester and I go way back, and I want him to know that my opinions of him has changed.
Wow. You know what? You've changed.
Are you sure it wasn't like a comedy act of some sort that was on the air
You know
Monday
what? It
night
wasn't
with
as
81
funny
people
as I was
watching?
thinking it was going to be.
You want funny. You want funny. Ha ha.
No,
That's what you think that should deliver. You
no.
want funny. This is what you have devolved to. You want funny, not true, real issues being discussed, not
It's the
decisions
first one.
being made.
It's the first one.
Best 2 out of 3 falls. So who
all-
won the first fall?
I think it was a double count out, to be honest with you.
Well,
You know
it
what-
was
you know what-
viewed bigly by the audience out there.
It was bigly.
It was very bigly.
You know what my problem with all these big league people?
Big league or big league?
Big league.
Big league.
Everyone is saying about how much this person lied and how much that person lied. Can't we just agree that they all lie? And they will continue to always lie? They will never tell the truth? So what's the big deal about lying anymore? I mean, seriously, who cares?
Anyways, back to
Whoa,
wrestling, folks.
Why are you just shaking your head?
I have nothing to say to that. I have no comment. I have no.
Both candidates don't lie.
Yeah, particularly on Monday night, only one candidate told 3 bold-faced lies, and that was Donald Trump. The other candidate told made one mostly false statement, not a lie.
What was that one?
I don't remember specifically
Wrong.
what it was, but
Wrong. Wrong.
You need some water?
How funny was that?
Huh?
Wrong.
You need some water?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
I can use a tissue.
Oh. Dolph Ziggler had
You
the tweet of
know-
the night, by the way, about how he has grown up and lived in Florida all his life, and he knows what sniffles and drinking a lot of water means. And those of you who are club goers out there know what that means
Club
as well.
whores?
Club goers.
Oh.
People who go to clubs, nightclubs. Back it up, get the groove on, shake it up, work it out.
What is he implying?
He's implying that Donald Trump was on some type of illegal substance, maybe ecstasy. That's what he implied. I'm not saying that. That's what he implied. I mean, I've heard that. Who knows? Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. That's what I've heard.
You think he needs that with the wife he has?
What's the return policy on her? Do you think there is one?
I think when she gets to like 40, you can take her in for a new model.
Trade her up like an iPhone?
Why not? It's worked for him so far.
We're attempting to talk about Raw, folks. And this past Monday night, it was up against some stiff competition. Of course, the discussion we just had, the debate being one of those things
You know,
between the
we owe
presidential
it to our
candidates.
viewers to educate them on this kind of stuff, though. We really do. Don't you think?
I think I said several weeks ago right here on this very broadcast program that
wasn't paying attention.
I have stepped away to a degree from politics because of the shit show that we have been delivered this year.
It's been rough, hasn't it?
It is RUFF rough.
Are you going to watch the third or the next two
Yeah,
debates?
absolutely. It's my duty as a citizen. Yes, of course I am.
What was the one thing that popped you the most?
When Hillary said, when she said, listen to what you just heard, after he said his temperament was clearly fit to be president.
It was very confusing, wasn't it? There was a lot of words coming out at one time.
And a lot of incoherent rambling coming out at one time
and
as
you know
well.
what? You say that about me. I've never been like that.
Right now, I've spent the last 4 minutes trying to get to the Raw Report, and you've just been like that.
We need to educate them.
If you think that's your duty on this planet, then, my friend, you are no John Kennedy.
No, I'm not.
Raw. WWE Raw this past Monday night. Yes, up against some stiff competition. They did start the show off very, very bigly very smartly, though, David Hero.
Great start.
Why did you think that was the way they should have done it?
Because by starting off with a match with Rusev and Reigns that went almost 32 minutes, opening segment, it didn't give people a chance to change the channel. Like usually if you have in-ring promos to start, then you go to the commercial, then you have the entrances, and then you go like 3.5 minutes.
Rusev was already in the ring. Great point.
So the fans were like, well, there's no commercial break here. We're just going to keep watching.
Yeah.
They should have done that a little bit later. Maybe like 10 minutes to the top of the hour.
Yeah. But they didn't waste any time, though. They did some big things on Raw, but getting back to that opening matchup, it wasn't so much what happened during the matchup, which was it a double count out, double DQ?
Double count out.
It was what Rusev suffered at the hands of Reigns after the matchup when Reigns brutally attacked him with a steel chair.
Well, he had that coming. I mean, Rusev started it.
How so?
He hit him first.
He did, yes.
So an eye for an eye.
Is Reigns he is already over, but is he capturing that audience that doesn't like him because of who he is?
Because of who he's working with. Because he's working with Rusev. It's like working with Nikolai Volkov or the Iron Sheik. You're going to cheer for whoever it is, the opponent.
Well, you talked about it a little bit in the last segment, but we also saw the pairing of Sheamus and Cesaro as they attempted to get an answer from Mick Foley as to what would happen in their best of 7 series. It was a tag team matchup they would be paired up into on Raw. And do you think that's a good idea going forward, those two being in a tag team? I think
it's going to be great, yes. I'm a little concerned about Cesaro.
Would they be like the Pan Am connection?
Pan Am? That was a Can-Am connection.
Can-Am.
So, what would you call them?
Well, I mean, we've got a Swiss Superman and we've got a Celtic Warrior.
You could call them the Reuben.
The Reuben.
Because you put Swiss cheese on corned beef.
Okay.
Team Reuben.
I don't know who takes credit for the Thousand Island.
That's up to them. But think about it. Look at all the black tape on Cesaro right now.
Yes.
He reminds me of Venom from Spider-Man. You know, like all the black gimmick overcome. Yeah. I like how Sheamus was the only one that truly sold the match from the night before.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Cesaro not so much. He got dumped on his head.
Yeah. Well, how about this story developing, or this story they were attempting to develop between Daniel Bryan trying to seek the services of Cesaro over on SmackDown?
That's true. Cesaro wants to go to SmackDown. Yeah. He's a better fit on SmackDown than Raw.
Absolutely is. SmackDown, though, arguably a little crowded right now.
How do you figure?
2-hour show. John Cena back in the mix. They've got a lot going on in their 2-hour window.
Right, but Cesaro's a far better fit. He's lost in the shuffle on Raw.
Yeah, I would agree. How about New Day now being lost in the shuffle against Gallows and Anderson? As a matter of fact, Kofi Kingston taking some color and I think 6 staples to his head in that matchup.
What did you just call him?
I said Kofi Kingston. He got cut open and he bled, which one term for that in this business is showing some color.
You realize how touchy this country is right now about those kind of comments?
No, they're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean the ones in the basket don't even understand what that means. They use other words.
The basket?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't say that. Someone else did. New Day, again. I mean, they're unstoppable. They are like Demolition right now.
How so?
Well, they're the second longest reigning tag team champions of all time.
They are.
Demolition.
Yes.
And finally, they're acknowledging Demolition on TV.
Yes, and that feels dang good, doesn't it?
It does, because you know what? Demolition was awesome. Axe and Smash.
Which is even more interesting because they're part of an active lawsuit against the company right now.
Yeah, but you can't deny.
One of which many counts were just thrown out recently.
You can't deny history, but who would win, Demolition or New Day?
Demolition.
Easily, right?
Yeah. Oh,
why?
By far.
Why?
Because they were going to kick their stinking teeth in.
They would, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. Demolition was bad. They were a tag team.
They worked with the Bulldogs, Killer Bees, Heart Foundation, Rockers, Road Warriors, Rougeaus.
But you know, I don't think this comparison's been made enough, and it's a difficult comparison to make, but the New Day are really playing Freebird rules, if you will, with them being a 3-man tag team, winning and having the 2-man tag team championships.
Right, but Consequences Creed is not in many of these tag matches.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yep.
He's usually the guy with the horn.
Somebody's got to play the trumpet.
Yeah. It's a trombone.
Are you sure? I thought it was a trumpet.
We've had this talk so many.
Yeah, we did, but I thought a trombone was bigger.
Shorter. It is.
So, obviously, these two teams are going to have another matchup coming at their next pay-per-view event, Hell in a Cell. Does it end there?
You think so?
I don't think they'd put those two teams in a Hell in a Cell because it's a comedy act versus...
They can't. No, it's going to be Sheamus and Cesaro against New Day at Hell in a Cell.
Really?
Has to be.
Really?
Absolutely.
Not Owens and Rollins?
No, not Gallows and Anderson.
No, Owens and Rollins, I mean, in the Hell in a Cell matchup.
We're talking about the tag titles right
Correct.
now.
I'm talking about the Hell in a Cell matchup. Are you saying Cesaro and Sheamus are going to face New Day in a Hell in a Cell structure?
No.
So I'm talking about the structure at Hell in a Cell.
Why are we getting so far off
Okay,
track?
folks, ladies and gentlemen, I will repeat the question.
Would you want to
talk
see-
about Lester Holt? If he were here, perhaps he can keep you more on track.
No, he would just criticize everything that I'm saying.
Everything you're saying, or just
Yes.
the lies you tell?
No, everything that I'm saying.
Okay.
He would never question you.
Because she didn't lie. Next up was Owens and Jericho. They did team up. The best friends teamed up to take on your favorite team, David Hero, of Enzo and Cass.
Yes.
And Owens and Jericho would get the win in that matchup.
They did, and they should. They're the two top single guys on the.
Why this pairing? Why is Jericho
Because they're
elevating
both
Owens?
Canadian.
And so is Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
because
They're both Canadian.
Jericho, he's elevating Owens in a different way. They're great heel villains together.
But does he need him?
It's almost like the Riddler and the Penguin.
Okay.
Joker died, so I can't use him.
Well, he keeps being resurrected, though.
You know, and they're just two great villains that work well together, and I think it's great.
Well, folks, the show itself was up against some very stiff competition, including Monday Night Football and the presidential debate, as we talked about, and many knew going
Did you
into
like the
this
debate?
week- I did. We have covered that quite extensively already. I do believe going into this past Monday, many people, including us on this very program, told you that Raw would probably suffer a pretty handed defeat against all of
crushed.
its other competition. It would actually deliver one of its 3 lowest ratings that the show has ever done. That being Monday Night Raw, I believe, only show that was lower than it were 2 of them in 1996, one being a Christmas edition of Raw, with 2.478 million viewers still tuned in, only down 200,000 from the previous week, David Hero, which was a low bar as well.
What do you think it's like knowing this show is going to cost you, let's say, $750,000 to put together,
Yeah.
and knowing you're going to get killed in the ratings?
But 1 week doesn't matter, especially if it's not during sweeps.
Well, I disagree, because it is the Monday immediately after the pay-per-view that they're trying to tell a big story from.
Oh, they are, absolutely.
So that hurts them.
Yeah, but
That
they'll
way.
rebound next week.
They'll be fine, but still, you don't want to lose, 200,000 viewers. That's a big chunk.
One big thing that was missing from Raw this past Monday night as well was Seth Rollins, who apparently suffered some type of rib injury in his matchup against Owens on Sunday at Clash of Champions. Rollins would announce on Monday night during Raw via Twitter that he is indeed going to be back next week in Los
you know what?
Angeles, where other big matches were named.
Let's go back to Clash of Champions.
Yeah.
I saw more house show dives.
House show dives?
Yeah, where they jump through the ropes onto the floor. I saw more.
Why is that a house show dive?
That's what they call it.
Why, though? I'm deeply intrigued by this. What makes it a house show dive?
Because they do them all the house shows. Now they're on pay-per-views. But I've seen more moves to the floor, off the top rope, through the ropes, everything else, than I saw body slams on Sunday. And you wonder why guys are getting hurt so much. Look at all the crazy moves Rollins and Owens did.
Yeah.
Cesaro should have broke his neck.
Yeah.
The,
Yes, he should have.
the girls diving all over the place. Sami Zayn and Jericho, when he did that one spot outside the ring,
Yeah.
through the all that stuff, they're millimeters away from it all going bad.
Too risky?
Very risky. They don't need all that stuff. You know why? Because when you do that kind of stuff, everything else you do doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jim Ross tweeted to that effect, especially as it pertained to the main event, because there were so many high spots, if you will, in the matches before that the main event had a lot of work to do to be
nothing.
meaningful.
Yeah, these guys, put it this way, and I've said this before, guys like Shawn Michaels, Jake Roberts, Dusty Rhodes, British Bulldog, even Andre the Giant will not have a career because everybody will be kicking out of their finishers.
Yeah, true.
Be
Well,
bad.
unless their finishers are protected, which we know is a thing.
By who?
Well, the company.
No one has a finish that's been
I
protected.
said unless, which
Yeah,
we know
but
is a
no
thing.
one has that right now.
Correct, right now. We'll get your overall, actually, no, why don't we get it right now? Did Raw do what it needed to do up against stiff competition coming off of Clash of Champions this past Monday night?
I'll be honest. I was watching the debate. What'd you think about that? It was all right? And it's like they did everything they had to do. They had all the main guys out there. They had all the. I thought they had too many cruiserweight matches.
Only 2. Okay.
That's one too many.
Okay.
It is. But overall, I mean, it seemed like they were still giving us the show that they would normally have.
Well, folks, that is this week's Raw Report. I want to remind all of you who are watching right now to take a moment and subscribe here to the Pro Wrestling Report on our YouTube channel. If you subscribe, you get notifications every time we bring you a brand new episode. And keep in mind, we bring you episodes over the course of the entire weekend. Subscribe to the show right now. Join 27,000 other people who have subscribed to this very broadcast to be a part of the Pro Wrestling Report weekly broadcast each and every week. With that, we're going to take a time out. And when we come back, we're going to talk about this week's Smackdown Report, which had some standout performances. And we're also going to talk about TNA Impact Wrestling, which presents Bound for Glory this Sunday on pay-per-view. Hot news, DWHS, and so much more. All that when we return right here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime from Casablanca on Brady.
The biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend is back. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Orlando. Join Nash and his friends for a huge VIP party Friday, March 31st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling at the world-famous Mango's on International Drive to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Orlando, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now and going fast at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside Thursday. Primetime Thursday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. David, how the heck are you? Have you refreshed after the last segment? Got a little hot about things.
No, we were just talking about the debate.
No, you were talking about the debate. I was trying to keep the show going.
You didn't like it?
I was playing Lester Holt. You were playing the
You kept cutting me off all the time. Orange Anchuan?
The Organtuan.
Organtuan?
Yeah. The orange guy with the weird hair who shouldn't be
He didn't
president.
look orange on TV, did he?
In the debate, he didn't, but in the post-debate, the stuff in the spin room, he was all of a sudden orange again.
I think it's because they must had your lighting at the debate.
Let's go to this week's WWE Smackdown Report, folks, and wow, what a standout performance by the endorsed Miz this past Tuesday night on SmackDown. Oh, here we go. It was what? It wasn't what? What else did it need?
It wasn't as good as Dolph Ziggler's.
Really?
Yes.
Dolph Ziggler sounded whiny, sounded desperate. The Miz was in complete control of every word that came out of his mouth, and he brought all of us into the arena with him who were watching on television and sold us on the matchup between he and Ziggler at No Mercy. The Miz was as brilliant as he was in that Talking Smack segment against Daniel Bryan a little while ago.
Well, he's an actor. But Dolph Ziggler had the best promo of his entire life. I felt the raw emotion. I felt the pain.
Was it the tears?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're a sucker for a crybaby?
No, I appreciate passion.
He showed it.
He did.
Ziggler didn't do bad, but I think side by side, line them up, Miz did better.
Seriously?
Yeah. Did you see Maurice's dress?
No.
Pantsuit? How did you not?
She's not my type.
Okay.
No, I mean, Maurice, she's beautiful, but that's Mrs. Girl. I'm not going to get in that battle.
Can't follow him?
I don't want to follow him. Would you want to follow Miz?
You think Ziggler was better?
Absolutely, because it seemed real. It seemed honest. It seemed authentic. The Miz
This was the guy who, for the last several weeks, has been sick of Dolph Ziggler.
Exactly, and he finally did something.
He brought you
right.
back?
Well, I mean, no, I appreciate what he did. The Miz it's the usual Miz. I'm awesome.
It wasn't the usual Miz. It was
more
than I'm awesome. The passion he showed, the words he used, the cutting nature of the promo was
what
fantastic.
was the best part of the promo of the Miz? What stuck out for you that he said?
Calling out Dolph Ziggler's parents.
That's cheap heat.
It worked. Walking past him on the way out, I hope you're proud of him, or I bet you're real proud of him. Mm-hmm. It was real. It felt good. He did good. Can you just give that credit to the man who I endorsed back in 2011, who then in 2012 went on to become champion and then defend that championship at WrestleMania 27? Another point he made in that promo on Tuesday. Can you please? Can you at least admit that truth? Can you admit that truth?
He had a great promo, but it wasn't as good as Dolph Ziggler's.
In your opinion, all right.
But I'm the op on this show.
It would leave, you're the who?
The op, the opinionist. You're the, como se dice, journalist that you call yourself?
I am a journalist trained in the Wolf Blitzer School of Journalism, absolutely. The match, though, is made for No Mercy. It is a career versus title matchup. Dolph Ziggler will put his career on the line against The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship.
Finishes and the heat in that match. It's going to be awesome.
It's been a long while since we've seen a career-based matchup, hasn't it? In WWE?
I think so, yes.
Very long while. We talked about this last week on this program. Matter of fact, you floated the idea of this next matchup between them having to be a career for title matchup. It now happens at No Mercy.
You got to wonder, maybe when is Dolph Ziggler's contract up?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer
I mean,
to that.
he might want to be done.
And well, I mean, his promo that was so great this past Tuesday night, better than The Miz's, he said this is his life. It's all he wants to do.
Right.
It's all he is here for. He wants nothing else.
Right, but if his contract's up, why not put over his best friend?
I would find it difficult to believe those two are best friends.
Really?
Yes.
They did drive along together. Are you saying that's scripted?
I'm letting you finish your point if you so choose.
No, I'm done.
To do
Go
so.
ahead.
I expected that you were, folks. The
Where are we on this
tag
thing?
team scene, though, the Usos teaming up with the Ascension, and they get a defeat over a team of American Alpha and the tag team champions of Heath Slater and Rhino.
They made
Which
Heath
team?
Slater tap.
Yeah.
That's bad, folks. Cheat to win to pin him.
Yeah.
Don't make the guy tap.
Are we... Long term, it seems like this is what's going to happen, right? Come No Mercy, we've got new champs in the Usos. Usos and the American Alpha is the real story we're getting to here long term.
It's amazing that the Ascension and Usos beat Alpha, Rhino, and Slater. Very Kabuki-ish to me.
How so? And the Great Kabuki was not in that
But
match.
it's because Ascension has been irrelevant.
Yes.
You know, they're just like stand-ins.
Uh-huh.
The Usos have a whole new look, a whole new ring entrance, a new fire. They're going to be tough to beat.
Bray Wyatt was on the search for Randy Orton, and a little bit of mind games between those two. The match is now official. It's been made for No Mercy. Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton.
That was a weird backstage
It was
promo.
very weird, yes.
It almost reminded me of let's go way back, and I'm sure you were alive when this was happening. Jake Robertson, Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, that was much more than 22 years ago.
And just how they did all the backstage stuff, and you know, it was just very interesting. What was cool is it showed that the babyface Randy Orton is fearless. He's not afraid of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't nervous.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
No,
Not even this much.
not even that much. But Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, I mean,
Is Orton ready to wrestle, though, is the question.
well, he did the house show with Brock
Oh, that's
Lesnar.
true. On Saturday in Chicago, by the way,
Yes.
which still, not sure. I think they taped that for the network, by the way. Looking at, I wasn't at that show in the Allstate Arena, which actually gets a Raw SmackDown back-to-back taping December 26th and 27th of this year, which is going to be great. But I was
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
still confused as to why they did that there, but until I found out or looked at some of the photos from the event that they did indeed seemingly film that for network
you have
footage.
to.
Well, why didn't they just air it on the network?
It'll probably be for a DVD special.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Super. Well, SmackDown ended on a pretty tremendous note, ladies and gentlemen. John Cena on commentary as Dean Ambrose took on AJ Styles for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And AJ Styles will get the win over Ambrose.
Yes.
The champ was there.
But it was a whole lot of shenanigans in that match. You have
There
John
were a
Cena
lot of
out there,
shenanigans.
and that gets things a little bit blurry. But it's going to be an interesting three-way because right now John Cena looks really strong.
Yeah.
The way he ended SmackDown, you'd have to believe, hey, he's ready to be the champ again.
Well, let's not forget some of the things Dean Ambrose said to John Cena, challenging him on a lot of things. Not dressing in the locker room with the boys, taking the private jet, the WWE jet. John Cena would address those things on Talking Smack, which Talking Smack's becoming one of those programs that is worth watching on a weekly basis. The add-on on the WWE Network after SmackDown
Okay,
was
but
off
if
the
you're
air.
John Cena, do you really want to fly commercial when you have a jet that will take you home?
One of the key things he said, though, in Talking Smack was Dean Ambrose says that he and I have a lot of hatred for each other. In fact, that's not the case. Dean Ambrose hates me, and I don't care about Dean Ambrose, is what John
So
Cena
is
said.
Ambrose becoming the heel?
Seems that way.
Little whiny heel.
I wouldn't know if I'd call him whiny, but he's
He
definitely
seems like
taking
he's
the
complaining
bad
a
guy
whole lot.
approach.
He's complaining about John Cena. He should be more concerned about AJ Styles than John Cena right now.
He absolutely should. The three men do face off at No Mercy for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena has proclaimed that this will be his 16th reign as champion, tying the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
But why would he want to win it at No Mercy? It's a throwaway pay-per-view special.
Is it?
I think so.
Was Backlash a throwaway pay-per-view special?
When you're doing two a month, they're not as special as they used to be anymore.
No, that's absolutely right. You're right. But I think they still bear some significance.
Well, I think if I'm Cena, I want to get it in Orlando at WrestleMania.
Or do you want to walk into Orlando with it at WrestleMania?
To lose it?
You walked in with it?
I don't know. I'd rather win it there.
We said last week on this program that we believed, I said quite vehemently and adamantly that I believed that this would be the first week that SmackDown would take the win in the ratings over Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, I will say what the orange guy on Monday night was not able to say about anything he was wrong about, that I was wrong. SmackDown didn't get the win this past Monday night.
How does that happen?
This past week. Actually, SmackDown getting 2.34 million views, while Raw got 2.47 million views. So they came real close, folks, but didn't quite match up to the powerhouse that is Raw on Monday nights. Now, SmackDown, of course, we'll talk about it in Battle of the Brands, but a lot of people saying it again was the better show of the
It
two.
was the better show because it's 2 hours.
Digestible.
It is. It's more fun to watch.
Yep.
And you know what? They have better characters.
Do they overall?
Yes.
So you're talking about the Mrs. promo and how great it was.
Well, I would rather watch AJ, Ambrose, and Cena go back and forth than the other guys on Raw.
Well, folks, that is this week's WWE Smackdown Report. We're going to take our final time out of the evening, and when we come back, we'll talk about this week's TNA Impact Wrestling news. We've got hot news and also DWHS. Pro Wrestling Report Primetime continues momentarily right here on Fight TV and YouTube. Welcome back, fans, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Thursday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. How are you? You seem a little tense this week.
You know what? I'm not hydrated. I see you got your little gimmick glass here.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows what's in it?
I understand that, you should take a sip of water every few minutes. Hide your faces that you're making, because you're always on camera. You never know. The camera's always rolling.
Why are you constantly sniffling and drinking water? You just sniffled again.
It's hot in here. Maybe I'm suffering from a cold. Maybe I'm sick. Maybe I have pneumonia.
When was the last time you were in Florida? In the clubs?
The people who need to know the last time I was there know the last time I was there.
Okay. Just saying. Coincidences.
Coinky dink. Let's talk about this week's event center, David Hero. And
Yes.
big news, of course, Shenanigans VIP party coming to Orlando as part of WrestleMania weekend. Speaking of club life in Florida, it is the biggest party of WrestleMania weekend, and it is Friday, March 31st, occurring at Mango's Tropical Cafe on International Drive. Now, if you don't know Orlando, there's four spots in Orlando. There is Disney, there is Universal, and then there's iDrive. That's it. Oh, there's a fourth.
There's
Orange Blossom Trail.
OBT.
But you will venture on those parts on your own. But I
you know
drive
what,
in
though?
between all of that, right off the I-4.
How great is the OBT?
Orange Blossom Trail?
Yeah.
It is one of the most, here, if you want to see all of America, down one boulevard, one street, if you will drive from the beginning of Orange Blossom Trail up by the airport to Orange Blossom Trail into downtown Orlando, and you will see everything you need to see.
OBT is it's like if you were to take Julio Cesar Chavez Drive and Martin Luther King Way and combine them both together.
Here in the Milwaukee?
Every city has those two.
I don't know if they have a Cesar A. Chavez.
I'm sure they do.
Well, I'm not sure. But it is available now. Tickets available now. Now, remember this. If you get VIP, David Hero, if you get the VIP ticket, not only do you get access to the private VIP room, but you also get all night long free food, free drinks. Your booze is covered, your food is covered, your meet and greet with Kevin Nash is covered. your autograph,
you get to drink and eat
photo
for free with the
Kevin
VIP?
Nash is covered. You got your own entertainment, your own DJ, your own dancing girls in the VIP
There's
room.
dancing girls?
For the VIP ticket purchaser. So only a limited number of those available, and they're moving very, very, very fast, ladies and gentlemen. And you can get more information on that event. Shenanigans, it's the biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend, available now at PWRshow.com. A lot of people have had questions as well, David Hero, about Sweet and Sexy this year. Of course, as you know, for the last several years, the Pro Wrestling Report has presented an exclusive VIP suite experience for WrestleMania in whatever city it may be occurring in. We are currently continuing to work out the details of whether or not we're going to be able to offer that for this year. The Citrus Bowl situation is a bit different than the stadiums of the past. Unfortunately, not as
You know what? Leave
it's
it
a little
to
bit more
Florida to
complicated.
screw stuff up.
It's a little bit more complicated, sorting through the hanging and swinging chads to get this suite booked.
And you can find them on OBT.
You can. It's just a matter of how much you're going to pay for whatever service it is that you need.
Chad?
Whether he's hanging or swinging. Or dimpled.
Dimple?
Yeah.
A dimple Chad.
Yeah. That was a thing back in 2000.
I was married then.
Shenanigans and Sweet and Sexy. Details on Shenanigans right now on PWRshow.com. We expect to have Sweet and Sexy details for you in the next couple of weeks. Now, with that, David Hero, let's move on into this week's Impact Wrestling Report. Big weekend for Impact Wrestling as they present Bound for Glory this Sunday on pay-per-view. However, we just report, we let you decide, folks. The story is out there from the president himself, Billy Corgan, who was on the Busted Open radio show just yesterday, talking about how, yes, indeed, TNA does need financing prior to this weekend, how he hopes that Bound for Glory does happen. He expects it to happen, but he also needs to ensure that the company is secure, not just through Bound for Glory, but for the next, quote-unquote, 20 years to continue going into this weekend's event. Sad news in the front office, great news in the ring, though, but the in-ring may not happen, much like what the situation was at Slammiversary, if they can't get this money into the company by the weekend.
It's just amazing that once again it comes down to the 11th hour for TNA.
Yeah. Now, Billy Corgan said, and this is a valid point, he could do it, as he did with Slammiversary, but he's having some challenges getting that majority interest away from Dixie Carter.
Well, yeah, you're not going to want to dump money into it and then have Dixie still run everything. Mm-hmm. Dixie Carter needs to step down and move away.
She has stepped down. She has moved away to a degree.
Move along. She needs to say, you know what? Yeah, I've done a terrible job running this company. Please try to save it. You know, make it better. These guys deserve to have a better situation than what they have.
Now, in an interesting turn of events, even given this financial strife, if you will, TNA announced a huge signing last week during their Impact broadcast.
Yes.
One of the biggest, if not the biggest, free agent in professional wrestling. The endorsed Cody Rhodes is inbound to Bound for Glory to make his debut for TNA Impact Wrestling.
They signed Cody.
They did sign Cody.
They did not sign Cody Rhodes or Cody Reynolds. They signed Cody. If they're smart, they introduced it as Cody and Brandy Rhodes.
There you go. There's the answer. Did you call that one in? You know people down there in Nashville.
Yeah, but they're not answering their phones right now.
Well, they probably should be. It could be the call.
You know, that way it's Cody and Brandy Rhodes.
Which says Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
Because Brandy Rhodes, as we talked about last week on this program, has indeed also signed for the company and will be part of the Knockouts division. Now, she can be Brandy Rhodes because she never was Brandy Rhodes in WWE. Cody Rhodes was Cody Rhodes in WWE. WWE owns the name Cody Rhodes. Cody can't use Cody Rhodes, even though that's his name, basically.
Here's my thing. How can you sign Cody Rhodes to a deal knowing you don't even have money for the pay-per-view yet?
That's what makes this whole story bizarre, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because he's debuting at said pay-per-view on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Look, there was a lot of rumors and speculation that Slammiversary would not happen. Slammiversary happened. I would doubt that they would have that opportunity if they don't have any.
I just feel bad for every guy in TNA that has given that company everything they have.
But here's what we're going to do. For the sake of argument, for the sake of what will probably happen, we're proceeding this weekend's programming with the assumption that Bound for Glory will happen, because in all likelihood it will happen.
Yes.
I think the chances of it not happening are much, much more slim than the chances of it happening. So we will present to you, Be the Booker, a standalone broadcast on Saturday night for TNA Bound for Glory. And we hope and believe that the event will go off as planned. I mean, Gail Kim's got to go in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, poor Gail. It was potluck before. It's definitely going to be bring your own now. They can't afford a meal.
Well, how much is it to do a private event at Arbys?
You know, I saw Arbys now as pork belly.
They're America's roast beef.
Can you imagine
Yes, sir.
getting pork belly from Arbys? You know what pork belly is?
Yes, I do, and I'm not going to let you go on another tyrant tirade, if you will.
I'm not a tyrant.
So Bound for Glory this Saturday, Sunday on pay-per-view from Orlando, Florida at the Soundstage. They've got a taping set up after it for their programming after Bound for Glory. Some great matchups on that Bound for Glory card. We're going to talk about them on Be the Booker on Saturday, as I said. But there is some chance, a small chance, that the event might not even occur.
So imagine everyone is flown in, travels are bought and paid for.
Well, Friday's the kill date, so I would hope that.
But just imagine, talents are going to come in.
Sicily,
Picture it, Orlando.
2016.
Everyone flies in. The return flights are for a week later.
Yes.
So these talents could be stranded.
Well, you know, one thing we didn't address, because I don't believe there's a chance it's going to happen, and I don't think any credible source has confirmed it. But will WWE purchase TNA Wrestling?
I can tell you that WWE has been in talks with TNA.
And talks could be how much, that's it. Due diligence, different from actually being interested. But whether they have or not, I don't believe they have been in serious conversations about it, but whether they have or not, will they be the purchaser of the company, TNA Impact Wrestling, on Friday?
WWE?
Yeah.
Sure, for the library.
Now, let's go back, though, in the annals of time. Remember when they secretly invested in ECW? Mm-hmm. Hundreds of thousands of dollars they gave to ECW when nobody knew about to keep that company afloat so the talent stream can continue to flow into the company.
But now they have NXT.
They have no need.
They don't
for,
have, no.
They have no need
and
at all,
they don't
except
like
for
Dixie Carter.
Except for the video library, tape library, as you talked about. And let's not forget, though, some great talents. There are rumors swirling around out there that they're interested in Matt Hardy. By the company, you got Matt Hardy. By the company, you got Jeff Hardy. By the company, you got EC3. By the company, you got Rockstar Spud. By the company, you got Cody Rhodes.
They don't want Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes didn't want them. Mm-hmm. As a result of that, perhaps
so now they're not going to want
him
back.
Or do you think they take him back and do what they do?
No.
No?
No.
All right, folks. Well, that is this week's Impact Wrestling Report. Let's move on to the hot news of the week. And firstly, William Regal on NXT last night announced the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament to the program. The finals are going to take place at NXT Toronto, which has also been recently announced, which also is going to feature a ringside show by Jim Ross on that weekend in Toronto. NXT, Survivor Series, and Raw all coming to us from the Air Canada Center on that weekend. But the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament, it was great last year. I was actually there for the finals of it last year down in Orlando.
Yes, you were. You were sitting next to Kevin Nash.
I was, yes.
Is that how you got in?
We just bumped into each other.
I heard the guys at NXT don't really care for you very much.
Well, what did I do to them? How can they not like me?
I don't know. They know you're not a super friend. Which, by the way, did you see the Super Friends front row of the pay-per-view? At Clash of Champions? Dead center. Right there. Triple H even sent out a tweet acknowledging that.
Did he?
He did.
Did he?
He talked about it's a brand that stands alone by itself. The T-shirt was right there in the middle of the tweet.
Your own reality.
It didn't happen?
See, and that's the problem right there. Yes, it did happen, but it didn't happen quite the way you said it happened.
You can put the tweet out and put the people aside. It happened. It doesn't matter. It happened. I didn't see a Nelson family shirt there, dead center of his tweet. Nope, not at all.
Also, unfortunate news as WWE Hall of Famer Sunny has found herself back in jail. She was actually arrested last Friday for a violation of her probation. Now, she was given probation, 5 years of it, due to her multiple DUI arrests. That sentence coming down just last August, last month. And she had cleaned herself up to get that lenient sentence, if you will, but a parole violation of some sort. We don't have the specifics of it. Landed her back in jail on Friday. She's going to be in jail at least through tomorrow, at least through the weekend, rather, as there's another trial coming up on Monday to determine her situation. That is not.
You know, it's so sad because she was the original diva. The hottest chick in all of wrestling.
She was at one point the most downloaded woman on the internet.
Yes.
Back in
now for different
1996.
reasons, you know. But it's just like, wow, it's like, you know, I've always had a good relationship with Sunny. She's always been good to me. She's fantastic. I love her. She's great.
She loves you?
She does love me.
You love her?
I love her, yes, absolutely. It's just too bad to see what has happened.
That's right, but who knows what the violation was? We don't know what the violation was. Maybe it was something minor.
It involved a minor?
Hopefully she is still clean, if you will, and we'll have the opportunity to get back on her feet. Now, folks, coming up this Friday, actually tomorrow night, September 30th, live on pay-per-view, Ring of Honor presents the All-Star Extravaganza, the 8th version of that show, and it will be headlined by a big tag team war. As a matter of fact, it's Ladder War 6. And that's going to be for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. The Motor City Machine Guns will take on the Young Bucks and also take on the Addiction, which is Christopher
It's like
Daniels
watching a TNA pay-per-view. So
Kazarian.
if it doesn't happen Sunday, watch Ring of Honor, and all three of those tag teams are former TNA stars.
Folks, the World Championship will also be up for grabs as Michael Elgin attempts to take the strap from Adam Cole.
It's going to be a solid show.
It's going to be a great show, as always.
I do want to see
Wrestling.
that tag team ladder match.
It will be great.
Yes.
Ladder War 6. That's Ring of Honor tomorrow
What's the
night.
over-under on super kicks?
17 at least.
17?
17 at least. How many elbow drops?
Did you see what the Young Bucks did?
What did they do this time?
They have their own cereal.
I'm sorry?
Super kicks.
KIX?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
You know, of course, they're playing off of the whole New Day Bootios.
Yes, the Bootios. Yes, super kicks.
It's so great.
That's smart.
It's very creative, but it's in a smaller box.
Well,
You know, because you can't afford a $13 box of Bootios. Who would spend $13?
is that how much they are?
Yes.
And how do you know this?
When I was at Comic-Con, they were selling them. I'm like, $13 for a box of...
But it's a souvenir, not a box of cereal.
getting
Would you eat them? They're probably
it's
disgusting.
it's like getting a box of Lucky Charms. Would you spend $13 for a box of Lucky Charms?
It has a prize in it, doesn't it? That's
I
Cracker
don't
Jacks.
know. That's Cracker Jacks.
That's where you got that ring, isn't it?
Ring? I don't wear a ring.
Anymore. All right, well, with that, folks, let's go to this week's DWHS. It is the spoken word of a man whose word you don't want to hear spoken, David Hero.
You know, to be honest, it's been a very frustrating week for me watching a lot of the online people wishing the downfall of TNA Impact Wrestling, which is a shame, which is sad, which is borderline disgusting. Because let's face it, we can be upset with the front office of TNA, the poor decisions they've made, but that talent roster they have is good. Without TNA Impact Wrestling, AJ Styles may not have the career he's had. Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, Austin Aries in NXT. And let's not forget the guy that we don't think about the most, Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
Consequences Creed, one third of the tag team champions in New Day.
Yeah, it's a great point.
TNA is needed. Yes, it may not be the alternate for WWE.
True competition.
The true competition, but it's something where the guys can go earn a living and entertain. So let's hope TNA gets everything pulled together, Bound for Glory comes off, and Billy Corgan is right. In the next 20 years, it can be a viable company. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
Well said, David Hero, and I want to make sure that point is crystal clear because we at this broadcast, I mean, we've done the Death of TNA episode, we've done the TNA in-depth series.
We've killed them at least a dozen times.
We have, but each one of those times, much like right now, there has been factual evidence that shows that they are that close to closing. That's the problem. We don't want them to go away, we don't want them to close, but the facts show that they keep getting into these precarious situations where they are that close to actually closing, that as responsible journalists, we have to talk about it. and
You
that's
are
what we
not
do.
responsible.
How not?
You're drinking vodka on set.
Clearly, this is water. I'm allergic to vodka. I have a yeast thing.
You have a yeast infection?
No, I'm allergic to vodka.
How'd you get that?
I've had some bad bread.
Bread is a killer.
Folks, that is this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. Tomorrow, David Hero, it's Feedback Friday, where we answer your questions and comments from the online world of our YouTube channel and Twitter and whatnot. And then on Saturday, it's Be the Booker for TNA Bound for Glory. And then on Sunday, it's Battle of the Brands.
Okay. I'm all up for that.
All that this weekend on the Pro Wrestling Report. Remember, subscribe right now to our channel here on YouTube, and also join us on Fight TV. That's FITE.
I'm gonna kill that
Fight.
mic.
That's FITE Fight TV. You can join us and become our friend on that platform as well, and subscribe to us on YouTube. For that one, this is Damien Nelson saying thank you so much for joining us. We will see you again tomorrow on Feedback Friday.